Today I want to talk about how ankle sprains are treated in Chinese sports and trauma medicine because it's different from conventional care. And I know a lot of people try to walk off an ankle sprain, which is majority of the cases is completely fine. However, if you have pain by either the medial or lateral malleoli, by the fifth metatarsal, or by the navicular, which is a bone in the ankle, it's worth getting an x-ray to rule out fracture. And if you have trouble weight bearing, if you have pain weight bearing, it's also worth getting an MRI to rule out torn ligaments. Also important to mention that if you are an athlete or if you are older, an elderly, proper recovery from an ankle sprain is crucial for fall prevention for the elderly, to prevent future ankle sprains for the elderly and the athlete, and also for the athlete to prevent setbacks in sports. Okay, so how does Chinese sports and trauma medicine treats ankle sprains? How is it different from conventional care? The biggest difference is that we don't use ice and we don't use anti-inflammatories because we believe that both of these things delay the healing process. They both act as a barrier to proper healing. Instead, we use a multi-modality approach and incorporate the use of herbs, acupuncture, heat therapy, nutrition, exercise, and massage or manual therapy to increase positive outcome for healing. The wound healing process is characterized as 4 sequential but overlapping phases: hemostasis, inflammation, proliferation, and maturation. Or if you want to keep it simple, acute, subacute, and chronic phase. Today, I'm going to talk about each stage and talk about the modalities you can use on your own. So we'll address diet, we'll address whether you should use heat and at what stage should you use heat. We'll also talk about acupuncture, we'll address the manual therapy and massage. I already spoken about exercise. I actually posted videos for exercises for ankle sprain from the moment of the injury to progress into full body strengthening. So if that is of your interest, you can watch that separately. And also mention herbs that have tissue healing properties. Okay, so first let's talk about the acute stage. This is from the moment of the injury, and this stage can last for a couple of days, usually 1 to 3 days. And this stage is characterized by a lot of swelling and a lot of pain, usually. So let's go over how each modality can help your recovery. As I said that we don't use ice, but also mentioning heat. In the first acute stage, heat therapy is definitely not recommended. Adding heat to an already inflamed, to an already swollen, to an already painful area is like adding gasoline to the fire. It would just increase the swelling and it would increase the pain. So definitely don't use heat in the first stage, in the acute stage of the injury. Heat is very useful in the subacute, in the later phases, so subacute and chronic phase, but never the first stage. So I mentioned also definitely no ice. If you must ice to make yourself feel better, or if you want to change the narrative, use ice for no longer than 5 minutes. But beyond that point, we believe that it really delays the healing. So instead, externally, we recommend using 2 products. Number 1 is trauma liniment, which is an alcohol-based herbal formula. The herbs in it help to decrease pain, help stopping infection, and help promoting circulation to improve blood flow without the unwanted side effects of the ice. And I don't have an ankle sprain right now, but let's pretend I have a massive ankle sprain. Let's pretend that it's really swollen, it's really painful. So the way I want to use trauma liniment is that just spray it on the area. And also talking about massage, modality massage, manual therapy. So let always pain be your guide. Respect the tissue, but you want to get in there. You want to remove the swelling. So new fresh blood can to the area, and that also helps to promote healing. Swelling is a necessary evil. Swelling happens because the body wants to protect the area, but also because blood vessels are broken, blood congeals, fluid rushes to the injury site, and that causes swelling. So be gentle and massage the swelling away. Let pain be the guide, but push the fluid out. As the tissue allows, you can go in deeper. And you could apply trauma liniment 2-3 times a day, and you can remove the fluid, the swelling 2-3 times a day, again to aid and promote new blood to the area to improve circulation. If you don't have the time or for overnight use instead of the trauma liniment, there's another product. It's called herbal ice or San Juan Sun, which is a poultice. It's made with beeswax and sesame oil and herbs that are actually cold and cooling. So it's called herbal ice because it acts as ice. It helps to remove the swelling without the unwanted side effects of the ice. And the way to use it is, I'm not going to put it on because it's quite messy, but it's a thick, muddy, watery, thick consistency. You would apply it where the injury is when the tissue is very swollen, and you would put a gauze over it, and over the gauze you would secure it with these rolling gauze, and you can leave this on for hours. You can leave it on for overnight, and the next morning when you wake up, the swelling will be tremendously gone down, and will also help with the pain. So for the home emergency kit, I really recommend having the poultice herbal ice, and I really recommend having trauma liniment. The herbal ice, actually they both have a pleasant smell. This is only to use for a couple of days for the very first stage of the injury, because again the herbs in it are very cold, very cooling, and you don't want to overcool the injury because circulation is very important for an area that you want to heal. Chinese medicine believes that we have pain because blood flow is limited to an area. Wherever there's no blood flow, that's where we have pain. Internally, instead of anti-inflammatories, we take herbs, and for the first stage, for the acute stage, I recommend taking a pill called blood stasis pill. This is basically the internal counterpart to trauma liniment. So the herbs help stop infection, help promote healing, help break up blood stasis, and help decreasing pain. Worth having it in the home emergency kit as well. Okay, so diet. for the acute stage. I'm going to talk about diet just for the acute, subacute, and chronic phase. What's important is someone who is suffering from an injury or recovering from surgery or is ill. It's important not to overtax the digestive system. So I recommend avoiding iced drinks, cold water, sandwiches, and salads. Everything that takes energy away from the body, because the body needs to warm it up first before it can get to digesting it. So instead, it's important, we believe it's important to focus on warming, simple foods. So think soups and stews, simple rice dishes with plenty of protein, and also limit the intake of the fried, greasy, damp causing foods. You want to heal, you don't want to overtax your digestive system, and these are the foods that are recommended. Acupuncture is also recommended throughout the 3 stages of the recovery. Acupuncture can help to calm the nervous system so the body can focus on healing. Specific acupuncture points we use throughout the body to help decreasing pain levels. Also, specific acupuncture points can help to improve circulation and reduce the swelling. There are acupuncturists who would needle directly into the area of the pain in case any ankle sprain, directly into the swollen area. There are other acupuncturists who would use what we call distal points, so they would needle the hands or the wrist or sometimes the ear, the other ankle, and both styles are valid and effective. It just depends on what style the practitioner was trained in. But acupuncture is recommended throughout the 3 stages of the recovery. Exercise is tricky. It's important through the 3 stages. At the very beginning, weight bearing is usually limited, so I recommend still doing exercise. Start with breath work that progresses into exercising other body parts, and later on, as the stage allows, as the healing allows, progress into seated work and into banded work, and later on into heel raises, single heel raises, and full body exercises, and later on in the last phase to exercises that challenges balance, because it's very important for athletes. Balance work is very important for athletes, and balance work is also very, very important for the elderly. Subacute or proliferative stage. This is the stage when the body starts laying down new tissue. However, the problem with this tissue, that it's still weak, it's still immature, so exercise and weight bearing still should be limited. You may also have remaining pain and swelling at this stage. So you can still, for herbs, you can externally, you can continue using the trauma liniment, but by this stage, because there's less swelling, there's less pain, you can usually go in deeper, and usually if there's swelling remaining, it's just in small areas or in like hidden in the crevices. So you can get in there and manually remove the swelling, continue using the trauma liniment. Herbal ice is no longer recommended. I said earlier that it's way too cooling for this stage. You may start applying heat in the subacute stage to promote blood flow, to improve circulation. You may also switch to another liniment called tendon lotion, which is different from trauma liniment. This is for definitely trauma, definitely for the first stage of the injury, acute stage. Tendon lotion has more warming herbs. So by the second stage, the subacute, the proliferative stage, you may start using it. Same thing, you would spray it on the affected area. And as I said, you can go in deeper and massage it in to remove the remaining pain, to remove the remaining swelling, and to promote blood flow to the area. What characterizes the second stage, the subacute stage of the healing, the proliferative stage, is stiffness. Stiffness happens because, number one, you are not using your ankle, so the body part we don't use as much, it tends to stiffen up. Stiffness also, the body tries to protect the injury site. So stiffness is a body's natural response to an injury. And stiffness also happens because as the lot of fluid rushes to the area, as the blood vessels are broken, the blood and the fluid can congeal. That also leads to adhesions and stiffness. To get rid of the stiffness, we have options. Exercise, range of motion exercises can help overcoming stiffness. Also, massage with the trauma liniment or with the tendon lotion, getting in deeper, mobilizing the tissue can also really help with stiffness. Acupuncture is needling into the area, can also help overcoming stiffness and loosening the tissue. And 4, we have also applying Chinese medicine in the subacute and chronic phases, various herbal soaks, which are made by dropping the herbs into a big pot, adding plenty of water, and then you can reuse the same pot for 6-7 days, morning and evening. And this is the one I have, is called tendon relaxing soak. The herbs in this formula aid to remove the stiffness, to loosen the tissue. Also, the heat allows the herbs to penetrate deep into the tissue. Soaks are very, very good to remove residual swelling, residual pain, and to remove stiffness and to loosen the tissue. If you notice that your pain is worse in the cold, or it's worse when it's cold and rainy outside, we have UI oil, which is an oil infused with warming herbs. And the way to use it is that you pump it in the affected site where the area is painful and in cold and damp weather, and you really rub it in. Warms the area, improves circulation, and drives out the cold from the tissue. Another way to use UI oil, once you finish massaging it, I actually recommend massaging it, I didn't mention it, but massage it for like 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time. I think that's like a good time frame, 5 to 15 minutes at a time. So once you massaged it, apply a hot pack over it, so the heat really allows to penetrate deeply into the tissue. If you didn't over iced the ankle, then usually this is not an issue. However, I'm just mentioning this for ankle sprains that you previously had, or for body parts, other body parts that you previously may have over iced. UI oil is a very good product to massage into the tissue that often feels more painful in the cold or in rainy and cold days. An internal herbal formula for the subacute stage, it's called replacing the blood stasis pill, called bone spatter special pill. I don't know who comes up with these names, someone probably in the martial arts world. But anyway, this formula is commonly used by Chinese medicine practitioners, by bone setters, and in the martial arts community. It is a really good formula to overcome the remaining pain, to aid the healing process, and to promote blood flow to the tissues. Nutrition, diet is the same. Continue avoiding garbage, no junk food. Continue focusing on plenty of protein, simple and complex carbs. Limit your intake of ice drinks, cold drinks, sandwiches and salads, and choose simple warming meals to aid the healing process, to aid the recovery. Stage 3, or chronic phase or maturation, is when the body lays down a more sturdy, a thicker tissue. The swelling is usually gone by this stage. However, remaining pain, remaining stiffness, remaining adhesion may still be present. Minor ankle sprain, minor injuries should be resolved by this stage. However, if the ankle sprain was severe, you still may have plenty of pain and plenty of stiffness, especially with weight bearing. And also, I didn't mention, but tendons and ligaments have limited blood supplies, so they take a way longer time to heal than bone and muscle tissue. And also, I didn't mention earlier, I apologize for that, ligaments are like seat belts for connecting bones to bones. Tendons are tending to bones. Every muscle originates and inserts with a tendon. But again, ligaments and tendons have limited blood supply. They take way longer to heal than muscle tissue or bone. That's why it's also important to not use ice, to avoid using ice, because the healing is already limited, the blood flow is already limited, and I don't want to limit further the blood flow to an area. In stage 3, exercise becomes the main modality. Exercise progresses from seated work to standing work. So think calf raises, double calf raise, progressing into single calf raise, full body exercises to reintegrate the injured tissue with the rest of the body, and full body exercises because the body moves as a single unit. Also, as the last phase of the recovery, it's important to challenge balance and incorporate exercises for improving balance. Stage 3 products are quite warming. So for the remaining pain, for the remaining stiffness, you may continue use the tendon relaxing soak, or you may want to use a different soak called warming soak. I don't have it at home. This is the one that's what it looks like. Basically, it looks in the same. It just says warming soak on the box. And it's the same way to prepare it. Put it in a large pot, bring it to boil, let it simmer, and then you can reuse the same pot for 5, 6, 7 days. And I recommend using it twice a day, morning and evening. And you can also soak the ankle and then do your range of motion exercises to really loosen up the stiffness and to really warm the area, to prepare the area for the exercise. You may also continue using the UI oil for if you have remaining pain. You may also use a hydrocollator or a hot pack over, so the herbs can penetrate deep into the tissue. Just to sum things up, if you want to keep things simple, there are 3 stages to the healing progress: acute, subacute, and chronic. And in Chinese medicine, we don't use ice and we don't use anti-inflammatories. Instead, we use a multimodality approach and incorporate herbs, acupuncture, heat, exercise, diet, and manual therapy to aid the healing progress. Acupuncture is recommended throughout these 3 stages to calm the body, to decrease the pain, to improve circulation, to remove the swelling, to remove the stiffness. Diet, keep things simple, plenty of protein, enough calories, not too much, not too little. Decrease the amount of junk you eat, decrease the amount of cold and ice drinks you have, and focus on simple warming foods, so soups and stews. Heat is not recommended in the acute stage because it is like adding gasoline to the fire. It would increase the pain and it would increase the swelling. Heat is used in the subacute and the chronic phase of the injury. Ice is not used, hopefully ever, but if you must use it, or because you believe that it's really important, if you want to change the narrative, I recommended using it for only 5 minutes. Exercise progresses from very basic breath work, from exercising other body parts, progresses into range of motion exercises and full body strengthening at the end, and also exercises that challenge balance. Manual therapy also progresses, also very important to remove swelling, to remove stiffness, to overcome stiffness. And that is also important to respect the tissue. Initially, be gentle, but as the tissue will allow, you can get in deeper manually. You can do a lot to remove stiffness, to remove adhesions, to remove the swelling from an injured body part. Swelling is a necessary evil. It's the body's way to protect an injury. However, we want to get new blood to an area. So we want the swelling, but we also don't want the swelling. So we kind of sort of want to remove it, and we want to improve circulation to an injury site so it heals faster. And instead of anti-inflammatories, recommend blood stasis pill for the acute stage. And second stage, a funny name, bone setter special pill to aid the healing process. And one more, bones and muscles have a good blood supply, so muscle and bone injuries heal faster. Tendons and ligaments have limited blood supply, so they take a lot longer to heal. So I hope this was useful. I hope you learned something new, and I hope if you have an ankle sprain, this was easy to understand, and I hope you are able to follow these steps, and I hope that you overcome your pain as fast as possible. Thank you.